Welcome, everyone, to another little cute episode with one of my beautiful Akashic students. Today, we are welcoming Heather Hughes to the podcast and going to be diving into her experience with the Akashic Records, her experience learning with me, and I'm so excited to introduce her to you. So, first and foremost, welcome to the show, Heather.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you for asking me.
Absolutely. This is going to be fun. It was like online beforehand, just thinking about like, when I did Jennifer's interview, and I've actually done another one with Catherine, and it's been so cool to kind of hear everyone's experiences because, of course, I know you all well. We talk often, but at the same time, being able to really hear more about your experience in this capacity is just so cool for me. So, first and foremost, share with us a little bit about your background. Where do you live? Um, what do you do?
Oh,
Who's
in,
Heather?
in all my years. I live in Perth, Ontario, Canada, with my husband, my loving husband. And we have two sons who have wonderful wives. Um, so a mom to my sons, and I'm a granny to a granddaughter and grandson. Um, I I have always loved to create, loved to use my hands to make things. So I spent time doing many different things, sewing, um, ceramics and pottery, uh, stained glass, painting most of all. So, and watercolor being my main medium. So that's kind of where my pastimes are: playing the piano, uh, fooling around on the piano mainly. My career work, I think my main career, my basic career, or if you can call it a career, was raising our family. I loved doing that. And when they were both of school age, I went ahead out and I was a guidance counselor at high school for many years and really enjoyed that position. Met a lot of wonderful teenagers, all in their process of maturing. So that was wonderful. And when that job got downsized, I ended up moving to a family natural health center and worked there for quite a few years. So, and I'm a Reiki practitioner, and that's just newish. So that's basically me in a nutshell.
I love it. I love it. Being a mom, is there a grander job out there? I'm not really sure.
Well,
So, do what?
I was just going to say it's a steady job.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. I think that, sometimes certainly over my 12 plus years being an entrepreneur, I've met so many women who are like, "Oh, I'm just a stay-at-home mom." And I'm like, "Are you freaking kidding me? That is such a calling and such a massive job. I mean, I couldn't do that job. I have so much admiration. And I think that having grown up with entrepreneurs who were always working, who were rarely around, I would have loved to have grown up with a mom who was home and, like around and those sorts of things. That would have just, yeah, that would have been the best. So, what a beautiful, beautiful thing to do. Um, so what was it that initially drew you to the Akashic Records? Like, how did you come to the Akashic Records?
Oh gosh, I think it's been a process. I think in late 2020, um, I was given a birthday gift from my husband for a soul reading by someone here in Canada, and more of a past life reading because he knew I was interested in other things. So I did that in early 2021, and I don't know. I just think that just set the pace for me. I was discussing this with our son, one of our sons, and he suggested a book by Brian Weiss called Many Lives, Many Masters, which he thought I would enjoy. And I absolutely ate it up. And I always felt there was something more to life than what we were being taught. And it just kind of opened it up for me, like reincarnation. Yes, and I think that was the start of the metaphysical process for me of awakening. And then I stumbled across Linda Howe's book, the Akashic Records. So of course I bought it and lapped that all up. And then after that, not too long after, I stumbled across a podcast that you were being interviewed on. And it was all about the Akashic Records as well. And I was like, I just loved every minute of it. And just the capabilities of communicating with others who could tell me truth and who could help me be more of who I am. I've got goosebumps right now. Like it just gives me the shivers. And after that podcast, I of course went right to your website. And I think I listened to almost all your podcasts and looked at everything you were offering. And so July of 22, I guess it was, I actually signed up for your Access the Akashic Records workshop. It was the workshop at that time. So I did that. And then a month later had a solo reading with you. And found out some things in that reading that just kind of catapulted me to start looking at myself. And I just wanted to do more and more of it. So, took a lot of your workshops and your classes and courses and clearings, and here I am.
Yeah. You've taken quite a few courses with me, haven't you?
I loved every one of them. Every one of them. You're always so helpful, and you're human. Like you relate to everyone, not as if you're above everyone, but you have the information needed. You can source the information and teach us how. And that's an amazing thing. So I'm so thankful for that. And that's kind of where I got to where I am now, with a bit of a struggle as far, as far as the communication goes within the records. But
Yeah. Well, so you took the level 1 Access Your Akashic workshop in 2022. Is that correct?
Yes, July of 2022, I believe.
Okay. And then let's see, at what point did you actually start practicing trying to connect with the Akasha on your own outside of the workshop? Did you start immediately, or did you I know that there was some time in between.
Yeah, I had started with Linda Howe's book and it wasn't happening for me. I knew I was in the records because I could sense it. I could feel it in my body, but I wasn't really fully communicating, receiving, or that I could see. So so I just continued right and with your workshop and after for quite a while. And I wasn't able to access immediately. I should probably reframe that. I accessed the records. I just wasn't feeling or seeing, hearing things the way I thought maybe it would happen.
Yeah.
And therefore did a reading. And in that reading, We asked what might be holding me back from full communication. So that is really what um, gave me the impetus to look at myself, because the only thing apparently at that time was my relationship with myself, my belief in self, my belief in capabilities. We're so conditioned, right from the get go, and it's not only our families, it's school, it's church, it's media, it's everywhere. So I think, we grow up thinking we are one type of person and believing what we believe, but no, there's something different, you know? So, um, yeah. So that's where I started to um, be more of who I am, looking inside and going over everything, going over what conditioning I may have had and what were my truths and what weren't. What was, and so it's being a process.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think, one of the big hindrances to us fully experiencing the Akasha is just knowing that we really can, that worth and value, that relationship with
Mhm.
ourselves, like, because we are, especially as women, and we've talked about this a lot. And, I've talked about it on the podcast, I've talked about it in workshops and courses, right? It's like, we're taught to be quiet. We're taught to sit in a corner. We're taught to play a certain way, to show up as a certain thing. And that sort of religious overtone that kind of inundates so much of society, whether we grew up in that or not, is very much like, this is such a big thing,
Mhm.
and am I going to be able to communicate with this thing? And so sometimes it really does take some time of being able to step more into self in order to be able to then open up to what is always here, but what we often don't feel worthy of, you
Mhm.
know?
And you don't even really realize that you don't feel worthy.
Right.
You, you sort of have to get to that point and then understand why you have that feeling and kind of clear it away and move on. Um, but the first reading I had for you was the beginning of empowering myself to know myself more and to know that I was capable, and yeah, that I'm worthy, as is everybody. I mean, you're born with it,
Absolutely.
um,
Absolutely.
and nobody can really take it away other than the conditioning you get. It's not really taking it away, but you don't realize what you really are inside, because we are so much more than the shell, you know?
Absolutely.
Just anyway, yeah. So,
Well, one of the things I love the most about spending time in the Akashic Records is it's this, it's a reconnecting, or like a reconnection to that spirituality, which I think is so important for us. And when I say spirituality, of course, it's not tied to any religion or anything. It's really just coming back to the divinity that is within us all. We
mhm,
forget, because we're in this 3D world, that we're spiritual beings having a human experience, right?
mhm,
We think, oh, and when we just look around our human experience, we're like, what? This is just not where I want to be.
mhm,
Like, there's some real difficult things about it that we may not want to be a part of or choose. But
mhm,
when we are consistently connected to our spiritual selves, then we see things from a different perspective,
mhm,
right? We have more compassion for the process. We have more understanding about what we're doing in it. And I think that every single person on the path to working with the Akashic Records works with and has to go through self-worth on one level or another. I don't think it's just one person.
yeah,
Some people perhaps deal with it more on the front end, like you did.
mhm,
For me, I was able to jump right into the Akasha. Like, I didn't know what the heck was going on, but there was something going on. But as I spent more time in the Akasha, then my mind started to get involved. Like, oh, you think
Mhm.
you can do this? Oh, you know what I mean?
Mhm. Mhm.
And then, of course, when I started reading for others, like even just in practicing, it was like, who do you think you are? And, like this is part of the evolution, the like the normal process of building a relationship with the Akasha. It just shows up
Mhm.
for us differently.
Mhm. Mhm. And I think just being able to discern how you're receiving when you start to receive, because not everyone hears that audible, voice, or sees images clear. So, and for me, when I did start receiving, and this is after a long time, but I think, I did. And that first time that I realized, gosh, I just got a message like that's totally my guides talking to me. I was so excited. I was so excited. And I got that not through hearing or seeing, but it was like a knowing. It was like a words just coming to me, and it was great. It was really lovely, and since it had been such a long time for me, it was just super, super exciting. And then, it takes time to grow that relationship and have that real trust that what you are, I'm going to say, hearing is coming from the source, you know, and the more I go in, um, the more I feel that, you know.
Yeah.
So, um,
I think
I'm.
what happened for you is like it was earlier this year, right? And I was
Mhm,
hosting a 30-day challenge within
mhm,
the private community. And we are
mhm.
like, come on, Heather.
Yeah, and I did that. And the thing is, I did that day in and day out when I first started to try to access. I was in there every day, trying. And I really think, like I said, after the reading I had with you and getting the messages that came through, I really needed to work with myself. It wasn't that I was a terrible person. It wasn't that, I'm not capable or enough, anything like that. It was, I needed to work with, who are you? You know, what do you like? You know, what do you feel? Do you really think that's who you are, or are you someone different? And I mean, it's not that I'm totally different than I was, but I've certainly gained a voice, you know, um, and I know that it's okay not to go along with what someone's saying just because I don't want to cause any commotion. It's okay to have a difference of opinion, in other words, you
Yeah.
know, and to voice that and to just and to be able to say no um, to an event or to something I really don't want to do, you know. So it's been great. Yeah.
So what are some of the ways that the like working with the Akashic Records have shifted your life?
I make decisions based on what I truly would like to be doing, um, not to please in particular, but to say in a nice way, no, I'm that's not for me, or I can't do that at this time. Um, I was very used to pleasing people and being everything that they wanted, being there for them, I guess, without thinking of me. So I think I'm being better to myself in that sense. I'm allowing myself to have that choice. And so that is one way, speaking out, just feeling more free, more free, you know. Like I said, it's nothing really huge, but I know I've shifted, from being that person who's always there to being there for people, but sort of on my terms, and I think we were taught, and as most children are taught, it's kind of selfish to think of yourself first. But I have gotten to the point where I realize if I don't look after myself first, I'm not really going to be who I need to be for anybody else.
That's
So,
huge. That's
yeah.
huge.
hmm hmm
Especially when you've spent a lifetime taking care of others,
hmm
you
I'm
know?
loving doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. I love doing that. And I love being there for people. I love helping anyone. And I just have to, I had to learn to help myself too.
Yeah. Yeah. But when we help ourselves first, then we can, I think, truly help other people in a
Yeah.
very different way.
And
So,
I
what are
think
some, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think there are so many people who are like that. Especially for women.
Yeah.
You want to give so much, and you forget about yourself.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes. So, what are some practical ways that you utilize the Akashic records in your own life?
trying to think of some of the questions that I have asked. I've asked a lot. um, I will ask, what I best need to know in a certain day. I will ask how I can be of help to a certain person. I have asked who in my family needs to hear from me most today and why, so that if I do make that call, I know what's, you know. Um, I don't know. There's so many questions, and right now I'm kind of drawing a bit of a blank about what I have asked, but sometimes I just need to clarify something with them. Um, Sometimes I actually just sit in their energy, especially if I don't feel well. I'll just open the records up and sit in the energy. And I know it's healing energy. And I know it's part and parcel of why I I would I'd like to say I healed myself, but it was with the records and Reiki as well. But I think you know that I had stage 4 cancer, and been told it was not going to go away, all those things. And I was like, it is going to go away, you know. So I sat in the energy a lot and did Reiki as well. And so I used the Akashic records for that and got a clear, um, an all clear. So it's still that way today, and that's been more than a year now. And I know they did that. I know they helped y'all, you know, because the Akashic records heal on many levels, as you taught us, and as I believe, emotionally, mentally, physically, they're just there for us. And it's such a blessing to be able to know that and to access it, you know. So, and I think I have a lot of growth yet within it. you know um there's always growth, I guess, for most people, and I'm kind of a baby at it. I've only been doing this for 6 months, so actually getting communication. So I just look forward to it more, um going deeper into it, and each time I go in, I just am that much more relaxed. I'm having more fun with it. um I mean, like, what kind of a birthday gift should this one have, or just fun questions too, instead of being so serious all the time, because I was very, very serious at the front end of everything. So I don't know if that answered your question or not, but
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, I think it was wonderful because I mean, you went everywhere from a birthday gift to assisting you in healing, your
mm,
cancer. I mean, that's a
mhm,
wide range of different things. I love hearing, to me it's always interesting to hear how other people are utilizing the Akashic records because, within the Akasha is everything. And so it's just like there's no limit except for the one we place on ourselves, right? Sometimes my brain goes blank when I'm like, how do I use the Akasha? And I'm like, oh, because there's so much.
yeah, yeah,
I could go in so many different directions. Like, how do
yeah,
I even start?
yeah. And I mean, you ask one question, and that probably brings up another, you know, um,
Yeah.
with their answer. So, as I said, I know there's a lot of growth yet to come for me, and I look forward to that. And I'm just happy. I'm super, super happy that I've gotten this far at
Yeah.
this point, you
Yeah.
know? So,
It's been
yeah.
exciting. It's been so cool to watch your journey with the Akasha.
I am not who I was 2 years ago. I mean,
No.
I am, but I'm not. Like, I know I've kind of allowed myself to be more open, um, and just to maybe to have a little more fun, joy. I don't know, like
You're
not
so
be.
much more comfortable in your skin. You feel
Mhm,
more authentic.
mhm,
You feel kinder to yourself. These are just some of the things that I've seen,
mhm,
in working with you and getting to know you over these past couple of years. It's been
mhm.
incredible to watch, you
Well,
know. It's yeah, it's such an honor to do this work and of course to get to share the Akasha with others because it's done similar things in my life, right? And that's
yes,
part of why I get so excited about teaching others because as much as my ego loves being that person that can give you the answer or help you in some way, like I really want to help you learn how to do that for yourself
mhm,
because every single one of us can, you know? And I
yeah,
think that the Akasha really is that vehicle, that tool that helps us to fully step into that. And it affects so many different aspects of our life.
it
And the
does.
longer that we work, the more that we see, and we're just like, what? This is so cool.
And so that's what I look forward to. And like, wouldn't this be great if it could be taught to young people? I'm talking children, teenagers. Their lives would be so different. Um, to the decisions made, you know, um, the more spiritual, maybe the more discernment you have, over what you really feel is good for you or not. Like, it would change the world, basically.
It really
Uh,
would.
Yeah. It'd be
It's why
just
I
so.
believe the Akasha is like really wanting to come to the forefront in our modern world right now.
Mhm. No,
Because, again, I consider it to be the greatest tool for self-empowerment. And I believe, especially in these times, being able to have discernment, being able to be empowered in who we are is one of the most important things that we can provide ourselves,
mhm.
because everything is wanting to pull us in so many different directions. And if we don't have that solid foundation in place, that the Akasha talks about all the time, then we do get picked up and thrown around. And, it's things are really shifting right now and they're going to really shift over the next couple of years.
Yes, it sounds like it, but all for a good purpose.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so, but knowing that from the Akasha, knowing that, and it's coming from the best source you could get it, you know, is such a blessing.
Yeah.
you know, because you can sit back and yes, it's all happening, and some of it is really not very nice. But the outcome is, I mean, it's for a wonderful reason, you
Yeah.
know? And I think our younger people are really going to show us the way,
Yeah.
you know? I really feel that. So, yeah, it allows you to sit back and say, you know, okay, this is hard, but unfortunately, we've created it, you know? So, to do the deal.
Yep. Change is often painful.
Mhm. That's
But it's
right.
so worth it on the other side.
Yes. Yes.
All right, Miss Heather, as we close, is there anything else that you would like to share with us?
No, I think I probably already said in some shape or form how fortunate I have been to work with you and the Akashic Records. And I truly mean that from the bottom of my heart, my whole heart. And I would just love I would love to see more people um, wish to access it, understand it first, to understand what it is, and then access. I hope I can be part of that in some shape or form one day. Um, it's just been so nice working with you. And for anybody out there listening, Anna's great to work with. She, you know, you take the time, Anna, to be there for everyone and, you know, answer questions. And you're always saying there's no silly questions, there's no stupid questions, you know, and you accept people from at the point they are. Um, I would just encourage anyone who's thinking of taking any of your courses to, you know, take the plunge, do one, try it, you know, um, it's well worth it. You know, I don't know how I could say it better than that. That's how I'm able to have had you know, the chance, the options, um, everything that could allow me to take what I have taken with you and learn what I have learned. And I'm looking forward to learning more. But I think, you know, that's in time. I have lots of growth too. So, yeah.
Absolutely. We all do. Thank you so much for your kind words.
Oh, you're very welcome. Very welcome. My pleasure to be able to do that.
I really appreciate it. Well, thank you so much for being here today, Heather, and just sharing your experience and your life story with us, you know, a little bit. I know we didn't touch on all the things, of course, but I know that it will be helpful to listeners who have lived similar paths and or are going through similar things to hear your experience. You know, we gain so much from each other, and it's been such a cool thing to like be bringing these stories to the front.
Mhm.
So thank you so much for sharing yours today.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate that. And look at me. 2 years ago, I wouldn't have done this. So just another way of being empowered, I guess.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you're rocking it out. You're doing it well.
Thank
Oh,
you.
thank you. All right, folks, thank you so much for tuning in and for being here with Heather and I. I hope this has been of benefit for you. Please share it with someone else. You will be able to find all of the links for Access Your Akashic Soul and just kind of everything else. Take care of yourself. And don't forget, when we invest in ourselves, the world benefits. Until next time.